Hi! And so I have a few things I want to say. I'm telling you right now I'm going to rant a little bit, but first let me just be grateful. I was trying to have some special effects, some music for you. I was going to play a little something just because I'm in a great mood today. It is beautiful, as you can see, and I feel really well. I feel super happy, and as always, very grateful. But one of the first things I wanted to mention is that I noticed, I reviewed some of these videos, and I realized there's a lot of technical problems, and I don't know why. I have a modem, seems to be working, but there's like time delay or voice lags or, you know, scrambled screens, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what to do about that. If any of you guys have tips, you can help me, that would be wonderful. Because as you can see, I just do basic videos. I don't know how to do like drop-ins of cool graphics and stuff like that. I guess I'll learn. Maybe I have other things I'm working on. That's not really a priority right now. So that's one thing. Two, there was something else. What was I going to tell you? Can't remember right now. I had 5 things actually, and I was going to write them down, but it was in the middle of the night and I didn't feel like getting up to get a pen, so we'll just go with it and see. Anyway, here's my rant. I'm going to try to make it brief and not only focus on that, maybe get back to some good stuff, but here is my rant. So I think I mentioned before, I know I did a video months back on white people in the DR, and let me just say this, I love people, period. I just love people, which is one reason why I'm here, living internationally. I think it's great. And I notice things like we all notice particular things about people. And what I'm going to say is a broad generalization. Let me start that out. That's my caveat. I am making a generalization because not everybody does this, but I do see a pattern that there's a lot of people, okay? And I'm going to talk specifically today about French people. Sorry if you're French, but here's what I see in this country at this time in my life. What I notice is that there's a bunch of French people here. They love this country. I mean, what's not to love? Look at this, right? It's beautiful. This is not an isolated area. This is just kind of how it is here. It's beautiful. It's kind of pretty almost every day. The people are beautiful. I told you about that in another video where I said people here, Dominicans, are extraordinarily good looking just for whatever reason, right? And not to say that people in other parts of the world are not, but I'm here, so I'm talking about what I notice here. Beautiful people, friendly people. You know, there's always a few bad apples, but I mean, overall, I'd say they're very kind, very friendly people, very warm and engaging. And food is great, music is great. There's a lot to love here. Who are really bad actors. They come to this country and they treat the people here like shit. And what I mean by that is, aside from the old coots or wrinkled old nasty goats who go after these young girls, and I'm talking about, I talked to someone this morning, a Dominican woman. Oh, it's hot. I'm doing it in the sun because it's the better lighting, but man. And it's November, people. It's warm. So let me make this quick. Let me see if I can go. If I go in the shade, though, it's not. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's gonna have to be good enough because it is too hot to stand in the sun for that long. Okay, so these people, they come and they take advantage of the women. By that I mean they either straight up abuse them, like have sex with them, and then don't pay them. The women who are actually kind of prostituting themselves, which is already an issue that they have to do that. The women have to do that to try to survive. That's an issue in and of itself, which I'm not going to go into now because it's just too long and I got to go. But the men who take advantage of that and then don't pay them? What the hell? What the hell is that? And then there's the people who, mainly I'm talking about like store owners, restaurant owners, and I've heard time and again from Dominicans, or people who just have homes and they hire Dominicans to, you know, clean their house or cook some food for them because the way they cook is amazing. And then they don't pay them well. They work them to death. They work them like long hours. I heard in one case about someone who hired someone to work in a restaurant and then told this person, no, you can't go to the bathroom. I didn't hire you to go to the bathroom. I hired you to cook. You know, and this happens on the regular. These are not isolated instances. People have told me as I've been, you know, passing through the street and meeting people and everything, that this is what's going on. And I find this to be highly, highly disturbing. And so this is my rant. Foreigners, in large part, are buying up this country where I'm living for sure, because as I mentioned before, it's a vacation beach town. And there's nothing wrong with people coming and investing in property. I'd like to do the same. I haven't yet, but I would like to. But I feel like it's a shame that a lot of these Dominicans aren't able to, well, they sell their property for super, super cheap. It happens all over the world. It's the same thing like gentrification. Sell their property super cheap. They get displaced. New people come and they buy it. They raise the price like times 10. And it just changes the whole dynamic. Now, it's not totally changed. And sometimes this is a good thing because you have different types of amenities that all of a sudden present themselves. Better roads, better facilities, different types of food, little boutiques where you can shop and things like that. So that's kind of nice. But what I hope doesn't happen is that this place loses the flavor of what's here because it's beautiful. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Well, I won't, not quite. I'm gonna say French people in particular, you guys have a really bad reputation. And I'd heard about snooty French people before, and I'd been to France a few times, and you know, I just deal with individual people, so I didn't have any issue with French people prior to coming here, and I still don't have issues with particular people. I know a lot of very fine, seemingly very fine people, as the president of my country says, wrongly in a lot of cases, but again, that's another issue. No, I know some nice people here of all types, of all backgrounds, but as a block of people, they just are wrong. They are cheap and they are greedy and they don't deal right. They do bad business. They're just a little sinister. They got some ugliness about them, which is really unfortunate. And they're perpetrating it on these people here, which I find highly disturbing. So that is my rant in general. I will give you now some nice things to think about because I feel like it's better to just stay positive and send out that kind of vibration. It's beautiful here. It's still highly affordable for people who are interested in investing, whether for simply like rental properties, or you want to have a second home, or you're thinking about, you know, relocating altogether or retiring at some point. This is a great place to do it. The Caribbean is desirable for a lot of people because it's the Caribbean and it's beautiful, you know, it's tropical, and the food and all those things that you hear are very true. This island happens to be one of the less expensive islands, I think, and a large part I think that's because, again, I mentioned the infrastructure. There's a lot of dirt roads still, and like, you know, things aren't totally together. So I would highly recommend, if you're thinking about even just coming to visit, leave your expectations at home. Do not come, you know, like I did in some ways, complaining, well, that's really inefficient, and why do they do it this way, and they're so slow and all that stuff. I had to let that go because we're not at home. And so, sure, you're going to give up some comfort, some creature comforts, but you're also going to gain a bunch. For example, way less stress, practically no traffic. I mean, if you're in Santo Domingo, if you're in the capital, yeah, there's traffic there, and they drive like bats out of hell. It's nuts. But I guess you even get used to that too. I don't need to be in another city. I came from a city. I'm not looking for city life. I'm looking for something totally different, and I got it. And so, you know, you just leave your expectations behind and understand that you're going to trade off some things that you're used to for some things that you're not. And I think overall it's a huge gain. I mean, I looked at some videos that I did back in, I think even like December, January. Oh my gosh, and I looked completely different. I was heavier. You know, I just didn't look as good. And I think now it's because I've lived here for months with this kind of a pace, and you know, my diet has improved, and I don't worry about the same kinds of things I used to. Well, no, maybe I do to some extent, but certainly not as much. For example, if I'm still worrying about money, like, oh my gosh, I have these bills, what am I going to do? It's not the same kind of stress. It's like way reduced because I don't have to pay a whole bunch now for some of the same things. My son's tuition is vastly reduced. My rent is vastly reduced. Buying food is it's just not the same. So it's a lot of benefits there. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up because I have to go meet some clients. I'm gonna try to sell some houses today. Wish me luck. I need that. Yeah, but once again, French people, if there's any French people out there, if you know some French people, please do comment, because I'd love to know, what the hell? Why do you guys act so badly? Why do you mistreat people? This colonial mentality is awful. I mean, I've heard of French people hitting their employees, hitting them. And I heard this from the mouth, well, I've heard it from other people, like a Haitian woman told me this, and a Dominican person mentioned it, but I heard it from the mouth of a French man when I went to his house to view it, to consider putting it on the market or for rental, what have you, and he was talking about how frustrated he was with some people who were working for him, and he was so mad he wanted to hit the person, and he raised his hand like that to just demonstrate like he wanted to hit her. And I was like shocked. I didn't say a thing because I was with my boss and, you know, got to be cool to do the business. But I was like, this is awful. These people are doing that. You're in their home. You're in their country. I don't care if someone does mess up. You don't hit somebody. What the fuck is that? So I need to know. I would love to hear from some French people. I'm going to ask some people here. But if there's anybody out there in Cyberland who wants to comment on this, I'd really love to know. And I'd also like to know what, how can I help just as another resident here, not a Dominican. And by the way, for the record, even though I think I'm brown, I'm a sister, and I speak Spanish or whatever, I'm not Dominican. They don't recognize me as a Dominican any more than if I go to Siberia, I'm a Siberian, I'm a gringo. I have a heart for these people, but I'm not one of them. So I feel like as another outsider, another person who would certainly buy some land and build a house and all that, I hope to do that one day, hopefully not very long from now. If God blesses me, please, I'm super grateful and I hope so. But, I just feel like I try to deal with people in a much more civil and in an integrity-filled manner. I would never dream of hitting a person who, didn't clean my house the way I wanted them to or something like that. I feel like that's outrageous. And especially when you come to another country and they violate the law, they do not pay. Here's an example. So here in the DR, when you go to a restaurant or pretty much anywhere and you purchase something, you pay the price of your meal, let's say it's 20 bucks for a meal. And on top of that, you're gonna pay two separate fees. One is a 10% fee, the other one is 18%. So the 18% is kind of like their general tax for everything. So it's sales tax, and it's tax that they use to, for infrastructure. They build roads and whatever the government does with that, right? All those types of things, right? They clean out crap and they do your whatever, everything. The 10% is supposed to go to the employees as like a tip kind of thing, in addition to their very low salary. Cases, from what I'm hearing, the French people, particularly the French people, are not giving that 10% to their employees. They're keeping it as additional profit. Or maybe they'll give the Dominican people who work for them a piece of it. But what one woman told me is that no, the owner said, well, no, we work too, and so it's partly for us. It's not partly for them. That is not what the law says. And so, again, and I hear this mostly about the French. Now, maybe it's because there's so many French people here where I live. There's also Italians and Russians and, everybody, Americans. And I'm sure everybody's got somebody who's misbehaving. And there's also people who are doing very nicely by others. But I want to know what's up. Why do French people have that about them? It's like, again, generalization, but in a lot of cases it's true. White Americans in the US just act awfully to people of color. What the hell is that? I feel like it's a chromosomal issue. Like they've got something in their DNA that makes them be assholes to other people, which is how maybe the whole colonization thing came about. I don't know. I'm searching for answers, people. What's this about? What's this about? Okay, I gotta go on with my Friday and go be pleasant and spread some love in the world, because clearly we need it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna give you one more shot of the background because it's so lovely here. Can't stay for long because it's just, woo, you can see the sun is beating down on me. But look at that. Look at this. My goodness, how could you be mean in a place like this? I think people who do that have something bad in their hearts. Anyway, all right, I'm out. Mwah. Peace and love. Hope you guys have a great Friday, great weekend. It's the day after Thanksgiving. I totally forgot about it until people reminded me, because we don't celebrate it here in the DR. But I hope you guys had a wonderful day. I hope you're staying grateful, finding something to be happy about, find someone to love, most especially yourself. Start there. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye. Stop video. Yes. I can't see. Help me. There we go.